What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Around the Metaverse, our weekly show where we bring together some of the best content creators from the blockchain and NFT gaming community, talk about all the recent news, and give you guys everything you need to know to stay up to date. My name's Adam. I'll be your host today, but more importantly, we got our amazing group of guests for you guys today. We got CryptoStache in the house. How you doing today, my friend?
Doing it. I'm ready. I'm excited. There's been so much going on here recently, and with everything kind of the markets, everything, it's been weird. But I'm excited to be here with you guys here. I know we took last week off, so it's gonna be back.
Oh yeah, we got Hysteria up here, one of the founding members of Non-Fungible gang. How's it going?
It's really good. At the end of another long, hard day clicking buttons in play to earn, but really good to come down and get a fresh perspective on some new types of NFTs with you guys. So looking forward to it.
Such is the life, man. Always gotta, if you're clicking buttons to earn money, that's better than digging holes or I don't know, whatever everyone else is doing, right?
I certainly wasn't coming in for a sub story.
We got PandaPops in the house. For those of you who aren't familiar, recently gone full-time in the crypto space, and is an amazing Vox editor who you can see making Sandbox edits all the time. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good, thanks. So yes, I did technically go full-time in the crypto space, but then Sandbox hired me. So I'm like... That's
great. Double claps. I mean, that is still full-time crypto. I mean, you've transitioned to working full-time in crypto. I mean,
I mean, originally it was it was meant to be self-employed YouTube stuff and crypto, and then and then someone was like, "Hey, you want to work with us a little bit more?" And I was like, "You're gonna pay me?" Yeah, sure.
Well, congratulations. Round of applause in the chat for PandaPops.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, we got Q in the house, one of the founding members of LadzCity and NFT Live. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, man? Yeah, I took a break off too this past week, and then I came back and everybody's talking about some dude named Brantley, and I was like, what's going on? What happened? So I literally had no idea that all this kind of blew up over the weekend.
We gonna talk about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, big things. Every week it's something new, right? Every week it's something new. You can't take a week. You literally cannot take a week off lest you end up losing your mind even more trying to catch up.
You can, but yeah, then you're going through backlogs, and it's like, dang, there's so much stuff to wrap your head around. It'd be a little difficult.
But we got a great show for you guys watching out there today. Before we jump into things, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe if you're not already. Go ahead and show that YouTube algorithm that you mean business, and that NFTs, play-to-earn gaming, and the Metaverse are here to stay. But we're going to be talking about a few cool things today. We have music NFTs and the Metaverse, a piece about Warner Brothers Music partnering with the Sandbox, the Bored Ape Yacht Club founders doxxed without their permission, which everyone's kind of been talking about if you've been on Twitter at all the past week. And then GameStop officially entering the Metaverse and going full-time on NFTs, partnering with Immutable X, which is a pretty big announcement, I think. All great things, but let's dive right in with music NFTs in the Metaverse. So for those of you who don't know or maybe haven't seen, the Warner Brothers Music, part of the Warner Brothers, big media conglomerate, recently announced that they partnered with the Sandbox to create sort of a music concert themed world within the Sandbox Metaverse, meant for events, concerts, those types of things. And the Sandbox being one of the biggest metaverses we've seen yet, kind of already partnering with people like Snoop Dogg. Maybe I think Lau might have had some, or Deadmau5 had a drop in there. But I want to ask you guys and get you guys' thoughts on if this is big news or not. So Stache, I'm going to start with you. Why do you think the Warner Brothers Music is partnering with the Sandbox? What do you think is in it for them?
I mean, I think that in general, there's a lot of brands that are looking for a way to easily enter into the metaverse without having to build their own metaverse. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to, is they see this opportunity, and do you want to be the last brand that is in here or not? Do you want to be the last brand that has an avenue, and coming late to the game it's an opportunity cost thing, right? Is it easy enough to be able to jump in and get with the Sandbox and make an early partnership, and maybe you lose some money, maybe you lose out, maybe you lose a tiny bit of credibility, but you're really not. There's not a lot that you're going to be losing out on if you take that step. Now, what is the opportunity cost if you don't? And that, I think, is big. I think when you look at Warner Music and what they're doing, they're starting to see a lot of musicians and big time music names getting into this stuff, and they're like, hey, if these guys are doing it, we're seeing some big names and a bunch of people are loading in, we need to be in there too. When you see somebody like Snoop Dogg making massive moves to be part of the metaverse and building these things out, you want to get on that hype train before the hype train is gone. So I think that's really the main motive here behind these moves from Warner, and being a pioneer, being some of the first to be in it and say that they did and have things set up. Because you look at some of these early moves from metaverses, they're the early ones are the ones that are now dominant. They're the ones that are taking over and really pushing it and doing it in a way that makes sense and it attracts people, and it's a perfect time to be doing it. So
yeah, and Warner Brothers hasn't gotten to where they're at for being last in line. You know what I mean? So not a surprising move, right? When all the big names are starting to do it. Hysteria, I want to get your opinion. Do you think this partnership is a big deal? I mean, do you think that people will actually use this music world that they're building in the Sandbox? Or do you think the Sandbox is huge, right? And there's already Snoop Dogg's land. There's already, there's probably already a bunch of avenues being set up in there.
Now, this speaks to me for so many reasons. We just come out of a 2-year, well, not even come out of it really. We're still in the midst of a 2-year lockdown. The opportunity to be able to put on a VR headset or, attend one of these events at your computer. And then, at the moment, that's not really too much of an enticing prospect for the event organizers, for the record labels, for companies like Warner. Why would they put that on? Well, now NFTs gives them the avenue to do that. And they can tokenize this, they can monetize it, they can spin it up any which way they like. It's an advertisement dream, really, the amount of collaborations and cross promotion available across all of the other people in the Sandbox, and all the different metaverses that have started to work together. So really, it makes so much sense to me.
Imagine.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, something came to my head too. Imagine if somehow they made a way to not only set up this music this music themed world, but gamify it too in a way where there was something always going on there, right? So as part of the Sandbox, you could visit it all the time and maybe earn some cool NFTs or something like that. Just so many opportunities. Where do we even start? I know, right? But Q, let me ask you: do you think do you think this is a sign of them maybe making a bigger move outside of the Sandbox? Could you see Warner Bros. Music maybe doing something with NFTs outside of the Sandbox? I'm sure maybe you're familiar with Blau and Royal.io, what they're doing with. I think is it LFAs or they basically renamed the term for NFT for what they're doing with limited digital LDAs, I think is limited digital assets or something like that, where you get a percentage of the royalties of the music they're dropping on there. But do you see Warner Bros. Music maybe diving in a little bit deeper than this?
Yeah, I think we're definitely sitting on that early adopter / early majority bridge, and you can see all these big companies coming in now. So 100% they are going to be getting into the space past the Sandbox. So you can see this as being an easy kind of I guess low hanging fruit, if you will. Sandbox is giving you some access to a community they've already built, so you get this cred instantaneously.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see too, they're starting to launch, or the Sandbox is starting to, roll out some of their features, letting people in on the alpha. I'm curious to see how kind of all this comes together and what Warner Brothers is going to do with everyone else there. PandaPops, let me ask you, as someone who builds assets for the Sandbox and officially now works as part of the Sandbox.
Yeah.
I mean, did this come as really big news to you? What are your thoughts on this partnership?
I mean, purely just because of how the space has been opening up. I wouldn't say it came as like a huge shock, but generally speaking, yeah, it's a fairly big deal because, I mean, between Warner Music Group and Universal, they pretty much own almost all the music. So just more into what NFTs are and sort of adopt it more than the whole, hey, somebody's spending £1 million on an ape, and something more fun to play and be involved in.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think that's all great. And it's interesting too. I just had another thought that like, I mean, this isn't something that they said, but imagine how cool this would be if like, so if everyone who is creating in the Sandbox got now the ability to like incorporate the music that they, like Warner Bros. Music has the IP rights to, into the experiences they're building. And then like anytime those songs were played while people were playing like in the Sandbox and those experiences, they get like something like sand, you know what I mean? Like
that's a cool idea.
That would be
for that.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I know there are options within Sandbox on the game maker side for you to add sounds and your own music and stuff. So it wouldn't be out of the realms of possibility, but it would obviously depend on what sort of, partnership deal they strike up.
I'm just saying, Warner Bros. Reps and the Sandbox reps, if you're watching, loop us in, all right? Just CC us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like you said, when you laying the tracks, and like what Q was saying too, and like laying the tracks of something like this now, and then being able to expand on it too with a lot of offerings later. I think that's huge, man, because like I said, once you kind of have your claws in there, then it's easy to expand on something like that. And I love that idea when you talk about how royalties work and kind of some of these royalty organizations that suck. There's an avenue here to build a better system that is metaverse focused and powered by blockchain, to where, think about that, being able to use creators' music in things, it dynamically be able to, pay for it through a cryptocurrency that you own, and then it's automatically sent to the creator in real time, and I could use Snoop Dogg's music in my experience without having to worry about jumping through a bunch of hoops, and then Snoop can get paid immediately as it's being streamed. I mean, they're and so a company like Warner could, be making a play for something like that here big, and, laying the tracks for it now.
Yeah, so ditto on that. Warner, hit us up. You know who to call. The man with the mustache, right? But that's all we got on music, NFTs, and the metaverse. Let's get to our next topic here, which has been kind of a firestorm if you've been on crypto Twitter at all recently, which is that the Bored Ape Yacht Club founders have been doxxed. Both of their identities completely revealed without their consent, and kind of coming as a surprise to everyone after BuzzFeed publishes an article basically just explaining sort of the way in which they went about finding their identities. And I kind of want to ask you guys, and this brings up a bigger kind of conversation about anonymity and kind of the implications of it in the industry that all of us work in. And I want to ask you guys' opinion on this, because everyone's been talking about the hot topic of anonymity in crypto. So Q, let me start with you. Let's start off with this. Do you think it was right for BuzzFeed to dox the Bored Ape Yacht Club founders without their permission? And like, is that a problem? Why or why not?
I think BuzzFeed has a right to do their job. So I'm like more laissez-faire when it comes to this. Like if it happens, it happens, in my opinion, as much as the Bored Ape founders being anonymous was their, choice. So if BuzzFeed chooses to have this type of journalism, I mean, that's the Web3 space is super decentralized. We are super hands off when it comes to like laying ground rules for anything. So I don't think there should be a rule against not doxing founders, in my opinion.
So like, then let me ask you this. Do you think that like this puts them in danger? Because I mean, you hear the stories too, or you've seen like the examples of, say, like, famous Twitch streamers like Ninja or whatever getting, I think, isn't that where or is it swatted, right? Or something like that, where like, once their identity is known, you could basically just like, you call the cops on them or something like that, and without any reason, and just, start doing things to interrupt their life.
I think that definitely could be the case. There's like two separate questions there. It's like, do I think it's right? And do I think that it could happen? And yeah, like I think BuzzFeed has every right to dox them because they're kind of a journalistic entity. And if that's what they choose to do, that's what they choose to do. But do I think it's right? Maybe not, because now it puts them at risk, because you're 100% right. It definitely puts them at risk more so than when they were anonymous.
I'm going to say you're using the term journalistic entity loosely there.
Okay. I haven't been on BuzzFeed in a while, so that's true.
But no, I agree with you too. I mean, from my opinion, I think like, if I was ever going to be doing something like that, I wouldn't be doing it anonymously, just because I come from the opinion of like, your name, your brand essentially is who you are and important. And like, as someone who, is true to themselves and true to like their brand, I wouldn't want to be doing things anonymously for fear of that, right? But I mean, a lot of people are doing this in the crypto space. A lot of people are doing things anonymously, and some of the most successful projects, example A, had anonymous founders. So, this kind of presents an issue for a lot of people, and I'm sure some people are starting to rethink, their positions being anonymous founders. And Stache, let me ask you: do you think founders should be able to stay anonymous? I guess what are the implications for like people watching of investing in a project that has anonymous founders?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there should be any kind of right around like, hey, you have the right to be anonymous. I think that, anything high profile is eventually going to attract enough attention where people are going to do that investigation. And, there's only so far you can go to be anonymous, like truly, truly anonymous. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know, man. I think that it's one of those weird situations where, in crypto and in the internet, it is a very commonplace thing. But, once you get to a certain level and a certain amount of popularity, there are going to be people out there that want to troll the shit out of you and find out who you are. And, and then you think about how much money is involved in the Bored Ape project as well. That's another incentivization. And so you have bad actors who are also trying to do things too, not just journalists, but, people who are truly looking to take advantage of that. I mean, you could see someone, finding out where these people live, following them home, and then, forcing them to change the contract right there at their home computer. I don't know. But I don't think that, there should be any real innate right for someone to be anonymous, in my opinion. So.
It's like every Bored Ape yacht club owner comes home one day and like all of the images of like in their MetaMask wallet have been like changed on whatever like IPFS or whatever to like, I don't know, just like a big middle finger. Oh, I shouldn't have done that on screen. I hope that didn't show.
But the metadata is frozen though for Bored Apes. Like they wouldn't be able to do that, I don't think.
Well, I mean, like I'm just saying hypothetical at like say like at gunpoint, and then like everyone's like, oh no, wait, we just lost the keys, like or whatever. But but no, I mean, I think this is an interesting thing to think about, like especially if you're someone who is anonymous and is founding a project right now. Hysteria, let me ask you, I mean, like, do you think that they're in danger specifically, like now that their identities have been revealed, and sort of like, what would you be doing if you were them?
This is something that just, me and a couple of friends have spoken about. What happens when it gets to the stage where, we have a business website, my address and my name is on the website of the business, because that is what I was required to do by Atomic Hub to get whitelisting for my collection. So, anyone can go look at where I live. Am I at less risk than the founders of the Bored Ape Yacht Club? Yeah, of course I am. But, I think nobody should have that right to anonymity. If, they've gone out and they've created this project by themselves, and, they've created this storm around it, and they should be, willing to deal with the consequences of that and protect themselves against that, just like the owner of any business that was worth that amount of money should be, whether that be a crypto business or not. And also, I believe that the owners of those NFTs, and the people participating in that collection, they're paying their taxes, I hope, on buying and selling those NFTs. So, you know, they should have a right to know where that money's going, what the address of the business is, who are the people that are dealing with those funds, because it is essentially like an investment fund at this stage, with what they're giving back to the owners of the NFTs. So yeah, it's just something that everyone's going to have to deal with, unfortunately, if they do rise to that level of fame within this space.
Yeah, and I think what's on a lot of people's minds too is like, just, you know, I feel like they were expecting, you know, more, right? Like, you know, you see the pictures of these two guys and they're just like, you know, average dudes from Florida, right?
It certainly takes away a bit of like the strange romance in those NFTs. Yeah.
Shout out to Florida. Gutter Cat's out of Florida too. Gutter Dan lives out there. They're producing some founders.
Founders from Florida. Hey, I mean, one of the greatest states in the United States of America, in my opinion. But PandaPops, I want to ask you too about this. Like, do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think that the Bored Ape Yacht Club as a brand is more or less legitimate now that the founders have been doxxed?
I don't. Personally, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. I think it just allows you to sort of know who's behind it a bit more. I mean, as an example, if, you know, some random, if the guy from Fire Festival started to do his own NFT collection and he was anonymous, like that would be, you know, and then you find out it's him, you're going to be like, whoa, like maybe I shouldn't have invested. So I think to some extent, yeah, okay, it does make it a little bit more legitimate. You can see who the people are behind it. But then at the same time, it depends who it is. Because if it's not dodgy people, then nothing really has actually changed. You just kind of know who they are. Personally, for me, yeah, I will do research into who people are. I don't really think that, like, I don't think they should have been doxxed, really. Like, there's not that much need for it, but people are going to do what they're going to do, and I believe they did it without breaking any illegal means. Like, they literally just went through legal, like, if I had the knowledge to be able to do it, I would have been able to find out that information. So they just, you know, did some research.
It was journalism. I'll give BuzzFeed that, but calling them a journalistic entity is another thing.
I mean, I think BuzzFeed are just trying to clutch at straws right now, try and bring themselves a little bit back into the frame, because they're just, do we even know about BuzzFeed anymore?
I don't know. Is it relevant? Quizzes there? Don't you take quizzes on BuzzFeed to find out like what animal or flower you are or something like that?
Who do you think I am? What flower am I? Oh, please.
If it doesn't tell me what, if it's not a quiz about what NFT PFP I am, I don't want to take it.
Oh, we should just make that. We should just make it. But no, I do see relevance in knowing who the people are behind something like that, like, you know, founding a collection, things like that. It's good to know, but personally, I don't think it's made any real difference other than what you guys have said. Like, oh, it's taken, you know, the mystery, everything away from who these guys are. You've taken off your love goggles, and they're just your general guys. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Bored Ape Yacht Club docs is top signal for not all of NFTs, maybe just that collection. No, I'm kidding. But that's enough for talking about two random guys from Florida who you never thought would have been, you know, the two of the richest dudes in the world probably now, or, you know, relatively. But let's get into our last piece here, talking about GameStop entering the metaverse with a massive partnership with Immutable X. Announcing that they're going to be using the layer 2 solution for Ethereum that is specifically tailored for blockchain games and NFTs to power their NFT marketplace that's going to be coming here sometime in the future. And, you know, GameStop has kind of been in the headlines more than you'd expect recently, more than you'd expect based on their current business model, with the short squeeze and all that stuff happening kind of back in the beginning of the P word. And now I want to get your guys' opinion on what you think this means for them and kind of what you think the next steps are for both GameStop and Immutable X. Hysteria, let me start with you. Do you think the GameStop and IMX partnership is just like a publicity stunt? Or, I mean, do you think that GameStop is actually going to take this NFT marketplace seriously?
Well, I really hope so, because, you know, I think it could be a perfect fit. You know, GameStop need a new business model. You know, the traditional method of selling games and reselling games does not work anymore. That's failing. NFT games are a new emerging market. You know, we don't really have the scalability or the programs in place at the moment to facilitate this large scale adoption. That coupled with the fact that, you know, there are some severely bad misconceptions about what the NFT market represents, you know, widespread misconceptions. Hopefully that can break down some of the barriers there. So, you know, I think it's a partnership that could work, but for it to work, they really need to, you know, tap into the degenerate nature of the public, really, and just get them investing in NFTs for the same reason we are, not just this is an NFT you own in a game. Now, go sell this and then the next person can own it. There needs to be some real application, and people need to feel like it can really benefit, you know, their financial lives.
I mean, yeah, I hope GameStop does their part in, trying to educate the like people who aren't maybe exposed to NFTs or don't know anything about NFTs on what they are, and kind of dispel some of that FUD that's out there, since there appears to be a ton of it right now. And it's kind of interesting to see GameStop announcing this massive partnership when, you know, we see other traditional gaming entities or companies associated with gaming, like Twitch, or not Twitch, Discord, and then like the backlash from the Ubisoft NFT stuff. It's interesting to see that while GameStop here is announcing they're going basically full-time NFTs in the metaverse. PandaPops, do you think that GameStop, like, what do you think their next move is after this marketplace, if they succeed in it?
Well, if they succeed in it, I could potentially see them throwing a ton of money towards making their own games, or having someone make games for them to publish on maybe their marketplace as well, sell games on the marketplace. But generally speaking, I just think making affordable games with blockchain technology that people can get into. If you take maybe Star Atlas behind me, yeah, sure, some of those thousands of dollars that you got to pay for a spaceship. But at the same time, there's a couple for like $15, cheap one. People spend more than that on an actual game. So yeah, it would make sense that if it goes well with their marketplace, then maybe having some games created on blockchain technology that would just, you know, would be affordable for general people to make. And I think it is about educating people under what exactly NFTs within at least utility ones, not just, you know, because there's lots of different sorts. There's your art pieces, your profile pictures. But personally, for me, I'm all for utility. If I can play a game and that, like my sword, and I own that, if I explain to someone, hey, you know that skin on League of Legends, you don't actually own that. Like Riot still owns that. If you tried to sell your account, they can ban you. They may not, but they can. It's in their terms. Like, they can do that. Whereas with blockchain, no, you own that. And it's about people being more educated in that space. So if more things like GameStop make it more mainstream, Ubisoft, like, I think, you know, we're going to see them more in the space, regardless of people being like, no, NFTs, they just don't understand. It's like someone said to me, hey, look, I've taken a picture of this ape, so now I own it. And I was like, okay, if I take a picture of the Mona Lisa, are you going to agree that I own that? No, you're going to say I've taken a picture of it. It's the same for you taking a picture of someone's ape.
There's only one Declaration of Independence, right, sitting wherever it is. There's 100 copies you could get in any museum, but Nicolas Cage is only trying to steal that one, the original. But you actually gave me a really good idea bringing up Star Atlas too. So GameStop, if you guys are listening out there too, imagine this for like what they're doing after this marketplace. So like in the future, Imagine if like you mentioned, some of these Star Atlas chips are thousands of dollars. Imagine you go to GameStop and it's like a virtual showroom with like a car dealership with like life-size like holographic like Star Atlas spaceships that you could you could go showcase in real life. And then like maybe they even adopt some kind of like you go to a car dealership, you look at a car, they have the financing like already there for you, and like they can help get you into a car, right? Like you go to GameStop, they'll help get you into an NFT, right?
Just like come look around my Opel Jet. It's sleek and smooth.
And then GameStop employees are going to become NFT salespeople that get commissions from NFT sales.
Sounds perfect.
That reminds me of Pokemon Snap, where you would go into the Blockbuster and and then like insert your memory card or something, and it would print out some like Pokemon. That reminds me of that. I'm dating myself. Yeah.
Well, no. Or with when you used to go in and they'd have like special events, and you'd take your little DS in, and then you'd get like the download. So you'd have like the special Torchic that nobody else had, and then you breed it, and then you sell it on eBay. No, just me. Okay.
All right. Yeah, GameStop and all the corporate execs out there, you know who to talk to when you need ideas for your Web3 business. Just come to the show. Just hit us up. But Q, let me ask you, man. Let me ask you, as someone who's been a gamer forever, would you use GameStop's NFT marketplace? I mean, they if you go there with all your old video games today, they're gonna offer you like $5. Are you gonna use their NFT marketplace?
If there's a game that I want to play, if there's a game that I really want to play, I'll play it on a potato. Like I'll do whatever I have to do, right? Like the reason I bought an Xbox to begin with was because I wanted to play Halo, like all the way back when I was 10 years old. So if they produce a game that's good enough, or they incentivize a game to come and build on, within their umbrella, then hell yeah, I'll use it. I think most of us here are blockchain agnostic and brand agnostic to a certain point. So yeah, if there's a dope game, I'll be the first one on GameStop's marketplace.
Okay, fair enough. I was jesting a little bit too, because I mean, while GameStop has you see the memes of like bringing your games back and they only offer you like 2 cents or whatever. It is one of the places I cherish some of my childhood memories, waiting outside at midnight for like the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 drop. You know what I mean? But Stache, I want to get your opinion on all this. IMX being one of the premier layer 2s for Ethereum, starting to kind of take up a lot of market, or I guess take up a lot of hype from other layer 2s like Polygon and things like that. Do you think that GameStop is making the right move here in partnering with IMX? And like, how do you think they go about executing this NFT marketplace with sort of the token economy that's going to be on IMX? Like, are they going to have a GameStop token? Are they going to use the IMX token, or how do you see this kind of rolling out?
I mean, I think the partnership is the best partnership you could have possibly imagined for GameStop. I mean, that to them, they're definitely getting the better deal. Do I think like Immutable X needs GameStop? I don't. I think it's the other way around. I think GameStop really needs to be working with Immutable if that's the direction they want to go. So I feel like they chose very wisely with the platform that they want to move forward with. Immutable has done a great job with their technology. It is rock solid. They put the time in to make sure and really think things through, versus some other platforms that have been a little bit rushed and really haven't been able to deliver on the feature set that you really need for some of these games and these advanced setups. So I think that they chose wisely. And when it comes down to like getting their marketplace out there, I think that I would love to just see them using IMX token as part of their setup, instead of having yet another altcoin. But I mean, that seems to be kind of the way of things, and I think it gives a project a little bit more control over some of the things as well, being able to pay out and things like that, and then obviously the financial benefits. But it's always just easier to be able to use a native currency in a platform like that. So if you're essentially going to be able to buy and sell things using ETH or wrapped ETH in this case, then maybe you have to have some IMX to pay for the fees, just like it is right now, or you can use IMX to pay fees and get reduced amount too. I think that makes sense. Now, if you have to go into the point where it's like, okay, you also have to own GameStop token too on top of these other ones, it just more barriers to entry. I think as a company, you want to make it as easy, stupid, simple as you can to have very little barriers, so people that are average Joes can get in and they can buy video games or get into blockchain assets in a very approachable type of manner. And so putting more barriers to entry will be bad in my opinion. So going with as least amount as you could possibly go with is really, I think, the way forward for them. So hopefully they don't do a token. I'm really hoping they don't.
And yeah, I think too, we're going to see something come of this regulatory wise, because like when you think about a big publicly traded company like this is maybe one of the first, like, planning on making a marketplace where their business model is dependent on NFTs, and like how that affects legislation and how their taxes are done. I think we maybe get some clarity from this, right? Yeah. Eventually.
Well, and someone too, just to answer a question in chat, someone's mentioned something about GameStop partnering with Loopring to do this, and no, essentially they ditched Loopring and decided to go with Immutable. As far as I know, I mean that I think that there was early talks about Loopring being the place that they were going to be building this, and no, it's they've partnered, and the funny thing too is it's not just that they are building this on Immutable X technology. They've literally, it's a partnership, They launched this $100 million fund. They gave them a massive allocation in tokens, which they then dumped on the market, which it was just like, all right, we got all these tokens, dump. And
I was like, do that?
Yeah, they dumped like $50 million of tokens on the market as soon as they got them. And it was like, and then, because we were talking about this on Friday, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of a slap in the face. I would say bearish. That, okay, maybe you got to sell tokens for development, things like that. But I think that was probably a little bit too much and too quickly, maybe try an OTC, buy or something to sell. Like, come on, man.
They just market sold?
Yeah. Oh my God.
They market sold these tokens across a couple of, and I was like, come on, man. And so it wasn't that, it was like, I don't know, it was maybe like, I think 33% of their allocation or something like that. I don't know the exact number, but it wasn't the full thing, and it wasn't the full amount of the first allocation they got either. So I don't know. It was weird to see them do that. It was a kind of a weird move in my opinion. Like, you just had this big announcement, big partnership thing, and then it comes out, oh, but we dumped, a million tokens on everyone's head. And the price, subsequently was already kind of low. And some people are like, oh, it dumped, it really dumped the price, but it didn't actually. That's the funny thing about it is if you look at the price action of when they did it and where the kind of market was going, like IMX was already kind of down. Like it probably did have some effect. But in general, I don't know that the effect was as big as it might have been, or as it could have been.
Oof.
Well, I mean, that's a little double-edged sword there coming from GameStop. I mean, who knows? Maybe they were just like, they're raising interest rates. We need the dollars right now, which probably isn't true. But let's chalk it up to next time. Just go OTC GameStop. Don't fat finger a limit or a market sell on Coinbase.
There's so many things wrong with that. Like you said, the market sell, the fact that they need the funds. They're just, I would love to hear their logic.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. And also too, during like a downtrend, like you dump tokens when like the coin was almost at an all-time low.
What's the quickest way to get a token holder base to hate you?
Yeah, exactly right. That you just partnered with for like a long-term thing.
Wait. Now, do you? I mean, actually, I won't ask you that. But now, would you use? Let me ask you again, Q. Would you use GameStop NFT Marketplace?
Again, if they came out with a really dope game, I would use the marketplace to play the game and sell. But I wouldn't. Yeah, I would still use it. Yes.
All right.
I mean, I think too, like it's early on, and they have the reasons for doing it. It could be a multitude of reasons. It could be tax purpose reasons. It could be development reasons. I don't know. I think it's kind of a little bit of a misstep here early on, but it is kind of like their first foray into doing real blockchain stuff. So they may just not think that there's anything wrong with that.
Who knows? We'll see what happens at GameStop as time progresses. But we're running out of time here for the show today, guys. And I want to thank you again for being here today. I want to thank you guys watching out there for sticking through this with us. Go ahead and make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe before we sign off here. And don't forget to check out all of our guests' channels in the description below. They put out some great content, and we're all about spreading the love here. So make sure to go support them too. But that's all we have for tonight, folks. Catch us again next week on Around the Metaverse.